Oh, the classic, right for Hollywood. This is the best film critic, not just in New York, but in the country.
Turn this off. I think this is Kate Smith.
I don't think it is Kate Smith. That's funny.
Oh, never mind.
That's funny.
She got in trouble, Kate Smith, later.
Yeah, she did. You could still play that. That wasn't Kate Smith.
Little bit.
Neil Rosen is the best film critic in the country.
Oh, you flatter me.
Now, by the way, we were just awarded a very coveted award. We were named the most outstanding morning show in New York City.
And I'm on it, yeah.
Well, yes. I figured that. So how much, the percentage of your appearances made that possible?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to answer that one. I'm not tackling. I'm a critic. I can't.
Well, I would say this: you're a great part of this show. We love bringing you on.
I love coming on.
And anytime there's a huge movie, even on Netflix or Amazon Prime, it just so happens in the theaters. This is a huge weekend. I'm taking my son tomorrow to see the Avengers.
And you got tickets. Amazing.
I got tickets. I'm famous, Neil. Everybody loves the movie. Is it getting a deserved amount of attention?
By the way, do you know that did you hear this story? I was on Fox 5 talking about this a couple of days. Some guy paid $15,000 for a pair of tickets to see this opening. Well,
my God.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane.
Because he didn't want spoilers, so he wanted to see the very first showing. But I guess if you have money,
it doesn't matter.
What I mean?
Right.
Really, I mean, to me, it's like
it's a bit much.
Wait, now, you didn't see, as a reviewer, you haven't seen the movie yet. You didn't see
of course I saw the movie. I saw it like 4 days ago.
Now, look, I saw a reviewer this morning warn other reviewers, don't give it away.
I'm not going to give it away, but here's what I'm going to say. All right, before I even launch into my review, the headline is, it's a very good movie. And I will tell you, coming from me, that's quite a statement, because I do not like comic book superhero movies in general.
Right.
I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe with all those movies. It's like, I can't take it. It's overkill. It's all action. And so for me to tell you that this is a really good, if not even great movie, it's from a person who's not even in love with these kind of movies.
Right.
So it's not like I'm a super fan and I'm saying, yeah, it's great. I'm somebody that's like, I walked into this, it's 3 hours and 1 minute, and before the movie started, I'm going like, oh man, this is going to be really like a slog to get through this. And it wasn't. First of all, it has a story.
First, let me ask you this quickly: Is it a sequel? Do you have to have seen the first one to see this one to understand
it? This is the 22nd movie in the series. There's 21 movies that preceded this. And what's amazing about this movie is they've brought the cast from every single movie into this movie.
Right.
You have the Black Panther cast, the Spider-Man guy, you have the Iron Man guy, the Captain America guy, the Hulk movie guy. I could go on and on.
Joe Biden's even in the movie, I think.
The answer is no.
You're in the movie.
You don't have to have seen it.
You don't have to have seen it. You could pick it up. It's made for if you've never seen a Marvel movie before, Ant-Man's in the movie. But at one particular point, I mean, there's a big. And again, I'm not giving anything away. There's a big battle there, and every cast member they bring Robert Redford back from 10 years ago when he was in Captain America. They bring in Michael Douglas from the Ant-Man. I mean, they just bring every person that's ever been in any of these 22 movies over the last, I don't know how many years, they're in the movie.
Okay,
here's how it works. It's a great story.
So here's how it works. One Mookie Wilson it's one of the worst you've ever seen. 5 Mookies is a great movie. How many Mookies to give this movie?
All right. Well, I'm on my Big Apple rating scale, which I've been using for 30 years.
Right.
Which is
I go Mookies. You go with whatever you do.
It's the Neil Rosen Big Apple rating scale on a scale of 1 to 4. So I'm saying if you're into this, if you are a Marvel fanatic, this is your thing, is Marvel, the Marvel comic thing, I'd say you'd probably give it 4. And if you're not like me and you're just, and like you, I'd say you'd go a solid 3.5, somewhere around there.
Hey,
I highly recommend it. Take your kids, and I think you'd really have a great time.
Puff on a blunt first, just to help you enjoy a little bit. Come on, Neil.
No, I don't think that you need any kind of enhancements for the movie. I truly don't.
I'll do it anyway.
I think it's a good film, and
we'll talk about enhancements
for the non-fan and for the fan. And I can't tell you who lives or dies
don't
because that would be
do
considered spoilers.
So talk about enhancements, which Bernie just mentioned.
But I will say there's a story. It's 3 hours and 1 minute. And the first 2 hours, it's not even action stuff. It's literally story, which is great. Then the last hour is a lot of action.
Gotcha.
So you get your action fix.
Right.
And the first 2 hours, it kind of sets up what's going on.
Right. Like porn. So Bernie talked about being high. One of the movies that comes out this weekend, this guy's always high.
Yes,
that's part of his shtick. Seth Rogen, that's his shtick.
Yes,
him and Charlize.
They get high in that movie.
They do. Him and Charlize Theron are in the long shot. What kind of movie is that?
They do Molly in the movie.
They do. Okay.
Okay. So he's this schlubby guy who's an unemployed journalist. She's the Secretary of State working for. Bob Odenkirk, who plays the president of the United States.
Better Call Saul. That's from Breaking Bad.
That's correct. Very good. Very, very good, Bernie. She was his babysitter when he was like 10 years old, and he always had a crush on her. So he's unemployed, but he's a funny guy, and they run into each other at some kind of party that somehow his friend invites him to. And she goes, listen, I know you a long time. You're a funny guy. I know you when you were a kid. Can I hire you? Can you punch up my speeches because they're dry, and I'm going to make a presidential run. So they call it long shot because it's a really unlikely romance. I mean, he goes on the road with her,
But
around.
You say that, but I feel like I've seen this before when he was with Katherine Heigl. Also a big, beautiful blonde,
right.
and it made no sense.
That's absolutely true. It's reminiscent of that, but I think this is better than that particular movie that you're reference pointing.
All right.
I liked it. I mean, it's funny. Is it realistic? Not in any way, shape, or form. But if you buy into it, there's a lot of laughs there. Judd Apatow had nothing to do with the movie, but if you like Judd Apatow type of films, it's his kind of DNA on the movie.
Well, that was the first one. Him and Heigl, that was Judd Apatow's movie.
That's correct.
They're ripping him off.
Yeah.
But it was funny. And Seth Rogen's funny, and again, for the Secretary of State and some schlubby unemployed journalist to go to a party in the middle of Europe and do Molly and get completely wasted is never going to happen. But if you just roll with it, you go, okay, it's I'm just going to buy into this premise.
Yeah.
They always
suspend disbelief, as they call it.
Right, he's got a crush on her, and somehow he's going to figure.
So how many stars this one get?
This would definitely get 3.
3 stars.
3 out of 4.
Okay, so
no
we were talking yesterday, Bernie and I, about Quaid, Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie.
He does. It is The Intruder because his commercials are great.
Is it Dennis or Randy? It's Dennis, right?
It's Dennis. I don't think we've seen Randy in a while.
No,
I think he had some kind of problem.
I think he's hanging out with Britney Spears somewhere.
Yes,
sorry to say.
Yeah, this is a home invasion thriller. This couple, this yuppie couple, buys a house in the Napa Valley, and it was owned by Dennis Quaid previously. And he goes, "I'd like you to have my house. I've lived here for 35 years. It's my baby." And then he becomes like, he can't give up the house. You find out that like he has. They don't tell you this in the beginning. I'm not really giving much away. He has to sell the house for monetary purposes, but doesn't really want to give up the house. So, he shows up to mow the lawn uninvited. He shows up with, like, pizza uninvited.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials. It looks pretty good.
And then it gets worse. Dennis Quaid's over the top. You talk about what you said before, said that you've seen the other movie, Long Shot. I've seen before in various forms. I've seen this movie
a million
times.
Right.
I mean, it's like, okay, great. So now he's going to the guy, Dennis Quaid goes into Jack Nicholson Shining mode in this thing, and it's you remember how, he is Johnny with the axe. I mean, he's basically doing that, and it's like, yeah, I was actually waiting for that. I'm going, great.
But here's the good news for Dennis Quaid.
I think
I'm sorry to hear that because I like Dennis Quaid.
It's a movie that you've seen literally.
But here's the good news for Dennis Quaid, and Bernie said you like him. He's going to make it all back when the next dog movie comes out. The first one, I love that movie. I cried like a baby during that movie. And the second one, at least from the coming attractions, The Dog's Journey, whatever it's called, looks like it's going to be equally as big a tearjerker as the first one.
Well, Dennis Quaid's been around a long time, so I think his track.
I used to bang Meg Ryan. Come on.
That was his wife. That was his wife.
Yeah.
He
did more cocaine than me and Bernie put together, and that's a lot.
I want to talk to you.
And he, by the way, he still looks good, just like us.
You guys look great. I want to talk to you about the Tribeca Film Festival, which opened earlier this week.
By the way, Bob De Niro with the hair and kind of slouching over, and I still love him. He looks terrible,
but he's
right?
great. But last night I saw a movie called Standing Up, Falling Down with Billy Crystal, and he plays an alcoholic dermatologist who kind of becomes friends with this young stand-up comedian who his career really failed in L.A., so he moves back to New York. And I actually went to the party last night afterwards. I was talking to Billy Crystal. Do you remember this movie? Nobody loves this movie like I love this movie. It's called Mr. Saturday Night.
No, I love it more than you.
Do you really? I love that movie.
Please, I use a line on this show almost every single day.
Can I guess it?
See what I did there? From the great David Pankin.
That's right.
The guy who played his brother.
That wasn't David Pankin.
Something like that.
That was
something with a P. Come on, help me out.
It wasn't David
Potemkin?
No, it was with a P.
David Paymer.
David Paymer.
David
And the two of them perform in the living room like I did in front of my aunts and uncles in Coney Island in the 1960s. It is a brilliant... you know who loved that movie? Alan King. And he was in it.
So here's the thing. So if you love that movie, Billy Crystal told me that he is going to be bringing that same movie to Broadway. And he's going to be in the movie. He's going to play... Can't play the younger... but a young junior. But if you remember the movie, he becomes an old guy and he's playing Florida retirement homes.
And
look at that. He's like,
he's basically Freddie Roman.
That was my winter, Stan.
Yeah.
That's my winter. Right. So
look, some inside information.
So basically,
Neil Rosen.
He's gonna try to bring it to Broadway, and it's gonna become a musical. And I recommend. It's still playing for the next few days, Standing Up, Falling Down at the Tribeca Film Festival. How much time do we have, Jill?
It's very exciting.
1 minute. Okay, so let me tell you a couple other movies you might want to look at the Tribeca Film Festival. There's a movie called American Woman about the Patty Hearst kidnapping. Right. That looks interesting. There's a movie called all these is Extremely Wicked, Shocking, Evil, and Vile. That's about Ted Bundy from the perspective of his girlfriend. And there's a movie called Skin about this white supremacist who goes through this transformation when he meets this woman with a couple of daughters who says, can we really not continue to go to these meetings?
That was like the Ed Norton movie.
American History X. That was a great movie.
That was a great movie. And you're great. You're great.
That was a great job, Neil Rosen.
We love
you very much.
Do.
I love being
the great Neil Rosen. We'll take a short break. We're wrapping up the week on Bernie and Sid right after these words.